I would like to discuss about how to analyze or maybe to recreate with our own aesthetics a traditional or a very rare rag from limited available sources. But there should be some sources to which we could refer to. The available sources could be notations, theoretical representations or documentations, which could be in any language or Sanskrit. Next is, and from that you'll get the basic chalan or the basic character of the rag, and you'll have idea about the Vadi Savadi and maybe the time. Those are mentioned in the Lakshan Geet also sometimes, and the Rag Lakshanas are mentioned in theoretical documentations in most cases. So the basic things would be covered by the theoretical documentations. Next is to find out any recordings available. If there are limited recordings, listen to whatever available, and if there are more than one recording, it's suggested to listen to all of them, so that you are able to find out the similarities and the dissimilarities between different renditions of artists and between different Gharanas. So that is another second point we should find out. And from the recordings, you'll also have to find out other Nyaas swaras. From the notations, the Nyaas swaras are not clear enough. So it's essential that you listen to renditions to find out the Nyaas swaras of the ragas, that is the resting swaras. Because to structure a rag, to create a rag, to sing or play a rag, we need to know about the resting places also. So from renditions and recordings, you could find out information on that. So the Vadi Savadi, then comes the Nyaas swaras, and then the other phrases, common phrases between the Gharanas and artists, you could find out. Also, you have to now, next step is to find out the dissimilar phrases also. So these are the steps you could follow to understand and create a rag or perform a rag which is quite traditional and rare. Sometimes we also have to recreate the rag with our own aesthetics, depending on our own aesthetics, because sometimes you'll find so many controversies and you'll find dissimilarities or disparities between the theoretical representation and the practical demonstrations, the available sources. So in that case, you need to recreate the rag, keeping the basis, of course. You could actually improvise on that with your own aesthetics, depending and gathering information on the rag, depending on the theoretical and the practical demonstrations. So because there could be some dissimilarities, often there are dissimilarities in the theoretical and the practical demonstrations, maybe between two different Gharanas or artists. So with that in mind, if you study them properly, you could yourself create with your own aesthetics. And if you have an idea of singing various ragas, if you have the experience, otherwise it's not possible, maybe with your own aesthetics you could recreate or improvise on that existing rare rag. Another thing is, which is very important, when you are finding out about a rare rag or a traditional rag, if it's a complex one, meaning if it has the presence of more than one ragas in it. I mean, it's not merely a grammar like only the ascending and descending Aroh Avrog based thing. I mean, there are many ragas which are actually a blend of 2-3 more different ragas. So you have to find out which are the 3 or 4 ragas present, or 2 or 3 ragas present, and you have to ensure that you know each of them separately. You can sing each of them separately. Then only you will be able to blend them into a new rag or analyze their presence in the new rag. So that is very important. Supposing, for example, I am giving just an example, I was I planned to study Barwa. I didn't know because I have very limited knowledge about ragas. I have learnt very limited ragas from my gurus, and so my knowledge is restricted. So I am trying to find out about many traditional or rare ragas by myself. So that's why I could provide all the steps which I personally went through to analyze and understand and to sing the rare ragas or the traditional rare ragas. So while studying Barwa, I found out that it consists of Desi, Kafi and Sindura. So now for the three ragas, Kafi and Desi I already have gone through and I already sing them. So I knew them, but Sindura I had no idea. So Sindura I planned to study first. So before attempting Barwa, I had to study Sindura. So while studying Sindura, I went through the same process which I just now was telling, that I studied notations from different sources, I studied renditions by different artists, and then came to a conclusion about the rag structure. And in my tutorial, I put them all together, that in this Gharana they use this and in that Gharana they use this, they prefer this more. So an overall structure of the rag was created, actually it's not a new creation, it was documented actually. So I tried to gather all the information and to sing a structure which actually conformed to most of the renditions and the notations. So that's how I learned Sindura and put up a tutorial. Now when I learned Sindura, I came to Barwa because now I know Desi, Kafi and Sindura. Then the same steps, I studied the notations, I was studying them, going through the notations and the theoretical documentations of Kramik Pustak Malika. Notations by Ustad Ali Akbar Khan. I have these references with me right now, so that's why I was referring to them. Then I started listening to many renditions of Barwa by different artists on YouTube. So what I found out was, from the notations I could understand the rough structure, that okay, here the Kafi is present, here the Sindura is going like this, and here the Desi Ang is coming. And the Vadi Savadi was also mentioned in the theoretical documentation. But from the renditions, I could understand the Nyaas swaras, that they were almost showing most of the swaras they were using as Nyaas. Because the Nyaas for Kafi, Sindura and Desi are different ones. Some are similar also. So that's why most of the swaras were being used as Nyaas swaras. So that's how I gathered information about the Nyaas swaras of Barwa. Next thing which I came across was, that was the most important thing which I found out, that sometimes the theoretical and the practical demonstrations could have dissimilar things, could have dissimilarities. So when we find out that, then we have to logically analyze what's going on, why there are dissimilarities and how we could find a connection between them, and maybe we could represent and improvise on that further. Sometimes we could also improvise on the existing knowledge to give a different or a similar form, but it could be more appropriate and more conforming to the theoretical and practical demonstrations already present. So in Barwa, the interesting thing was, I heard the renditions. Most of the artists have used both nishads and some of them have used two gandhars. However, in the notations also there is no mention of two dhaivats. However, in the theoretical documentation, that's the Sanskrit slokas, in two slokas it has been mentioned that in Barwa, two Gandhar, two Dhaivat and two Nishads are there. But in none of the notations and in the representations they have been used. I mean, especially two dhaivats have not been used. So I was trying to find out logical reasons and connections that how to use the Komal dhaivats to conform to the Sanskrit slok and the theoretical documentation, and why the two Gandhars and two Nishads are coming in Barwa. Analytically, I was trying to find out logically. To understand few lines of the Sanskrit slok, my friends helped me. Sorry, because I'm not good at understanding Sanskrit also. I could understand roughly, but they actually helped me in a deeper study of that. So, in Barwa, supposing I'm just discussing it to let you know that how the analytical things we usually do to research on a rag. So, interestingly, in Barwa, supposing two Gandhars, two Nishads are there, that's justified because Barwa has Sindura. Sindura has two Nishads and Kafi also has two Nishads. So, it's logical that in Barwa you will have two Nishads. So, the Nishad is justified. Then the Shuddha Gandhar. How does the Shuddha Gandhar come? Shuddha Gandhar, so the two Gandhars. Firstly, in Kafi, Komalga is there and Shuddhaka is there. So, since Kafi is present, both Gandhars could be present. Additionally, there's a line in the Sanskrit slok of Barwa that this is also called as Pilu Barwa. And again, in Ali Akbar Khan's notation, it was mentioned that the origin of Pilu could be from Sindhura, because there are phrases which conform to the presence of Pilu. So, and Barwa was also called or is also called Pilu Barwa. So, there could be phrases of Pilu also, and Pilu has Shuddha Gandhar also. So, that's how the presence of Kafi and Pilu, they actually for their presence, both the Gandhars could be used. Then the Dhaivat, two Dhaivats. Usually the Shuddha Dhaivat has been used in most of the renditions and notations, but the presence of Komal Dhaivat, how could it be justified and how it could be inserted? I was just thinking upon that maybe I could introduce the Komal Dha in practical demonstration also, so which could conform to the Sanskrit slok or the theoretical reference of Barwa, Pilu Barwa. So the Komal Dhaivat, again, see, Desi is there, and in Desi we have two Dhaivat version also, where both the Dhaivats are there. So the Komal Dhaivat could be in Desi Ang. The Komal Dhaivat could also be like in Pilu Ang. In Pilu also we occasionally use Komal Dhaivat. So in both the things we could, for both of them, we could use the Komal Dhaivat. So now the next part comes is, I know two Gandhars, two Nishads and two Dhaivats are used. Now how I will use that and aesthetically how it would sound, that is again an experience. That also needs to be sorted out. So that is the final step, that when we are practically demonstrating that or singing the rag or playing the rag, we have to be aesthetically strong enough and have sufficient experience to handle the different swaras or the two Gandhar, two Dhaivat, two Nishads, how we will place them and how aesthetically we could place them to beautify the rag. That is the mastery of an artist.